Hi, I'm Sadaf Akhtar, and I've put together a program of mindfulness and meditation sessions for Shama Women's Centre's online program. This program is delivered by myself twice a week and posted on Shama Women's Centre's Facebook and Instagram page. So maybe you'd like to drop them a follow or a like and to take a full advantage of the full mindfulness program so far. Why not also drop me a like or a follow on my account too, Resonate Success, details below, on Instagram and Facebook to keep up to date with my tips, activities, and events. So, over the last few sessions, we've been looking at our senses more mindfully. For example, we've explored how we can listen more mindfully to connect to the here and now and to gain more positive experiences. In the last session, we covered feeling more mindfully and how we can let go of those unhelpful thoughts and invite in positive thoughts, positive actions, and positive interactions into our lives, alongside looking at how we can observe what we can and cannot control in life. So, in today's session, we're going to look at how we can begin to see more mindfully and to help focus and gain clarity in our lives. So, what do we actually mean by seeing mindfully? And how exactly do we do it? Well, it's a simple but very powerful process. Mindful seeing is the practice of bringing our sense of vision and being to really begin to notice everything within our field of vision. So, the idea behind it is to focus on one thing as much as possible, rather than looking around at everything that's around us and taking in too much information. So, what this essentially does is take the mind to a place of thinking and doing to a place of deeper awareness using our visual field. To practice mindful seeing, we begin to bring awareness to our innate ability to notice those small things around us. For example, you may want to start with small things like looking at your desk in your office or perhaps it's at home and things you can see on it as well as moving attention to what's around the desk and perhaps what's on the floor. What you'll begin to do is notice colours and different textures and really helps your brain to focus and gain clarity when everything else is whirling around. What also is great about mindful seeing is that there isn't a specific way to do it. There's no right or wrong method because we all do it according to our own personalities and our own way our brain is wired up. We're not trying to accomplish a goal essentially here. All we're trying to do is bring that awareness to feeling, to sensing, to noticing and being present in the here and now, because this is where we learn so much about ourselves and how we create a more positive outlook and growth mindset in life. Now, if you find approaching mindfulness a little challenging, which people do, and that's okay because it takes time and practice, it's a new skill. It's particularly helpful when our minds begin to wander during meditation or visualization, perhaps, by embracing that idea of seeing more mindfully that what we're doing is actually focusing on physical objects, and this can give you a real sense of anchoring and grounding in our day-to-day lives. So often we can get so wrapped up in what's happening around us, what's happening at work, what's happening at home, we begin to lose focus on things around us, what we actually see with our eyes. So, I want to give you a little bit of a task. Why not try the following short exercise next week or this week and perhaps implement this little activity into your daily or weekly self-care practice. So, try and notice the difference between looking indifferently, which we will do all the time, and actively looking with your full conscious attention. When you engage in more active sight, just notice what colours you see. Take in the time to just observe the colours, for example, the light, the shapes and shades in your visual field with appreciation and gratitude. And just take that time to notice how it makes you feel and enjoy the moment that you have created yourself. And naturally, your brain will begin to calm down. You'll begin to produce more positive chemicals to balance out that anxiety or stress or tension that we experience. You may even want to go outside to do this. I love to do this while looking outside at my tree, even though there's no leaves on it yet. I love to look at the colour of the branches and all the different textures that I can see and all the different things around me, and take my time to really observe it. And it really helps me to focus visually, and all those other sounds and chattering that goes on in my mind is pushed kind of to the background, and I bring to forefront my visual perception. And I'd really love to hear how you found this exercise, this simple exercise. So feel free to drop a comment or share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear about how you found it or what you practice and how you engage your visual perception to ground yourself. Now, there's so many different ways in which we can meditate, and it's such a diverse area. I may meditate differently to you, you may meditate differently to me. And that's absolutely fine because we're all individuals. Because what we learn to do, we learn to train our mind, our body, and our spirit, and our heart and our consciousness to see the world through our own eyes. Because no two people are the same. We're all different and we're so unique, and that's something to really celebrate. So mindful seeing allows us to utilize the senses of sight to absorb and ground ourselves into the present moment. And as always, I say the present moment is where the magic happens, or where things happen and opportunities arise, and where we can make the changes in our life to have a more peaceful and positive future. Bringing attention to a more focused manner in this way, we're able to direct our minds towards something and begin to break that pattern of those reoccurring conversations that we all have internally, whether it's the self-saboteur or the inner saboteur, that voice that's always trying to put us down and sabotage our day. We all have that part of us. So, by being more mindful, we begin to shift our perspective and maneuver around those wandering thoughts that are always with us. We begin to shift those thoughts to other parts of our mind, so we're able to concentrate and gain clarity and take the time to stop, breathe and relax. So when we engage in seeing more mindfully, what we're actually doing, we're stepping into a greater awareness using the sense of sight. This in turn has a positive effect on our lives, our actions and interactions overall. We begin to increase our conscious state and allow it to be present in the here and now. And what this does, it actually counters our daily stress and tensions and our anxieties by bringing us back to the present moment. Again, this is where the change happens, because the past is gone, we can't change that, and we spend time worrying about the future, which we haven't got to yet. So the present is where we anchor ourselves, ground ourselves to move forward in our lives. And when we begin to take those positive steps, in fact, we're beginning to produce a more increase of happy, positive chemicals in our brain. And I know I talk about serotonin all the time, and dopamine, and all these different oxytocin. There's so many more chemicals that really help us naturally feel good about who we are and the situation we're in. So let's take a little look about the science, regarding the science behind vision, or our sight, and how this amplifies the benefits of practicing seeing more mindfully. So according to mindfulcall.co.uk, vision is the predominant sense because it's actually around 30% of our brain, area of our brain, referred to as the cortex, and it's committed to processing what we see around us. Now, if we compare this with the touch part of our brain, which is roughly 8%, our brain is dedicated to this particular element. In terms of our sense of hearing, our brain takes up 3% of the area of our brain. And I find what is even more interesting, and this blows my mind, that the retina at the back of our eyes contains 150 million light-sensitive cells. and is an outgrowth of the brain. How amazing is that? I find that blows my mind. So how often do we actually walk around in our day-to-day life looking with our eyes, but we're not really looking because we're just registering things quick, 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 and to get through our day. But when we take that time and we use those 150 million light sensitive cells, we really begin to gain a different perspective on life and enjoy every moment of what we see through our eyes. So today we're not going to be using background music, and we won't be closing our eyes, because the whole point of this mindful session is to see and visualize more, so we can do that together. So with that, if you'd like to just get yourself comfortable, we can begin. So let's get visualizing together. Today we're going to take some time to just use our sense of vision to see things more mindfully in our day-to-day lives. So, if you could just bring awareness to where you are right now. Perhaps you're in your office or at home or at the park. Just consciously bring your attention to where you are. Now find a focus wherever you are. Perhaps it's in your room, or perhaps it's your desk or a shelf or something else. You may even want to look out of the window, or if you're in a park, just look at what you see in front of you. Now, just take your time as you pay attention to one object. And it really doesn't matter what the object is. So we want to avoid putting labels on it and categorizing it. So what you see, if you see your desk, relabel it according to its shape. So in your mind, you might be saying square or rectangle, whatever the object is. All you need to do is just notice its shape. Now, bring attention to what colours you notice. What colour is the object you see? Are there lots of colours perhaps, or one or two in particular? And just say the colours to yourself. Perhaps there's different shades of a colour. And notice the colour and any patterns within the colours. What patterns do you see? Just observe with a sense of gentle curiosity. What textures do you see as you observe and you practice seeing more mindfully? Now take some time here, focusing on the object gently and with curiosity. And don't put any pressure on yourself. You're not analysing anything. All you're doing is noticing colours and shapes and textures of whatever you see wherever you are. And just enjoy this moment. I'd like you to now bring some awareness to something else nearby, whether that be a cushion or a book or a vase, or perhaps if you're at a window or outside, the grass, leaves or a building or a car. Just notice the many different shapes present in this small segment of the world that you are observing, that you can see right now. Try to imagine seeing these objects for the first time. Take the time to notice the details you see, with no judgment, no analysing, just gentle curiosity. All you need to do is simply observe. No need for any type of judgment on yourself or what you see. Just bring about that gentle awareness. Be aware and move on to something else, curiously. Noticing colours and shapes and textures. If you become distracted, that's okay. It happens. Just allow those thoughts to pass by and just bring your awareness back to what is within your vision right now. To a colour or shape perhaps, and allow your mind to enjoy what it is seeing. Perhaps you've noticed something during this exercise that you didn't notice before, or you're revisiting something that you pass by every day and see every day, but you experience it differently in terms of patterns you never noticed before, or colours or shapes you didn't notice before. I hope you enjoyed that short mindfully seeing exercise, and whenever you need to, just bring that little exercise to mind and take your time to just observe where you are. You can do it anywhere and it only takes a few minutes. So we've come to the end of today's session, and I'd like to leave you with a quote. The way we choose to see the world creates the world we want to see. So in the next session, what we're going to do, we're going to explore social media, truths and realities. And we'll look at living in reality and setting your truths as a priority. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care and remember to see more mindfully.